Hey guys, if you've been following me for a while, then you know that I am obsessed with helping SEO agencies grow by getting more clients and then scaling their operations. You may already be a customer of ours where you use our page product to completely automate Google Business Profile Management. Well, I'm very excited about this video because I get asked all the time how I would scale my agency in terms of more clients, because we work with hundreds and hundreds of agencies, and part of what we do is consult them on what they can do to grow. And so what I'm going to do in this video is walk you through my most ambitious plan yet and give you step-by-step instructions on how you can hire 10 appointment setters inside your agency pretty easily. So within the next 72 hours, I plan on hiring 10 SDRs. And their goal is really just to call business after business, trying to get them to do a Google Business Profile audit using our tool, which we also make available to agency owners, and then try to get them to sign up for our managed service. Now, we don't actually want to grow our own managed service clientele because we really prefer to power agencies. But for the purpose of this video, and so that we can just learn and improve our own processes and better advise our marketing agency partners, we're going to hire 10 SDRs and have them target small business owners just for a month. And then we're going to give these SDRs to whichever agency wants them. All right. So the end goal is to sell small businesses on Google Business Profile Management services, since that's what our page product automates. And that's what most marketing agencies that we work with are also selling. And so the first thing that we need to do is quickly recruit a bunch of potential SDRs or appointment setters. And my go-to platform for this is Upwork. It's really good for putting out a job description and then just waiting for a bunch of people to go and apply. But the issue is that when people do apply, and you can see 31 people already have, you then need to scroll through all the information for all of these people and talk to them one by one and gather information. And considering we're trying to do this at scale, we're just not going to have the time to do that. So what I did instead was I created a form that when somebody applied to this job on Upwork, we would send them this form and ask them to fill it out. And the reason that we needed this is because we needed a very simple way to gather all the information that we needed so that we can quickly figure out who the best fits are and who we should not proceed with. So as you can see, this form of the 33 people that applied for the role, 25 of them have submitted the form, and what it gives us, and I'm just using Google Forms here, nothing fancy. And then what I have on the back end is a Google Sheet that's connected to, and I'm hiding this information so that, just to protect the people that applied for this role. But basically we have their email address, we have their first name, what they expect to make per hour in USD, which dialers they have experience with, how many cold calls on average they've had to make throughout their career or in their last job, which products they have experience selling. So we can have a really good understanding for, which ones are going to just get started right away and do great, and which ones will need a little more training. And then we ask them to upload a voice sample, because this is extremely important, that the people sound, that their English is good enough to be able to sell into US based businesses, which is really where our focus is and where a lot of our marketing agency partners focus. So here you can see it throws in a Google Drive link, and we can easily go and listen to them and either say yes or no accordingly. We then ask which country they're in so we can get a better understanding of who they are and where they're located. And then we'll go through each and every one, and we will rank them in terms of how likely we are to hire them. And so after about half an hour of going through these 25 odd candidates, we should have a short list of the 10 people that we want to offer the job to. Okay. So now we have 10 SDRs that we want to onboard, but we don't want to get crushed with that training burden, because, we have a whole business to run. All right. So the next thing that we got in place was a course. So I went to ChatGPT and I gave it all of my understanding around what works and what doesn't work for local marketing for small businesses, so that we could then send these 10 SDRs through a kind of school to get up to speed with everything they need to do and know to be successful at selling local marketing services to SMBs. Because one, if they don't fully understand the solution and the importance to it, then they're not going to be able to convey that to the leads. And so it's really important that you really sell your services to your SDRs so that they can then sell it to the local business owners. And so what we did was had ChatGPT go ahead and create a full course that has Q&As throughout it. So after every microsection, there's questions And then at the end, there's a long exam. And then what we did was we threw this into Notebook LM, because Notebook LM by Google is able to take all this information and then create slide decks off of it so that we can make the course more engaging than simply making somebody read through it. Because again, we're only going to be as successful as we empower the SDRs to be. And so we really need to educate them and put out the content in a way that makes it very easy for them to consume. And then what we need to do is give them an easy way to go through this course, as well as allow us to track the progress that each of these SDRs have made in going through the course, and also their scores on exams. Because if someone's just going straight through the course and they're failing all the exams, we do not want to move forward with them, right? We'd rather get them out of our system as quickly as possible and then hire a new SDR. And so Teachable is a really good platform for building out courses and tracking the results at the end. It can give them certificates. And part of the reason why I wanted to use Teachable is because once this experiment is over, I would like to create just a huge database of highly vetted SDRs that the agencies that are part of Merchant's agency partner program can easily recruit from, so that you don't have to do any of this yourself. And so Teachable is going to give us that scalable platform to do this in. Okay, so we talked about hiring the people, training them on local marketing for SMBs so they can be successful. So the next thing that we need to do is get them leads and manage them. So what we did was we built SAM, because managing a bunch of SDRs is very challenging, because you constantly need to listen to their calls and give them new leads and help them improve and teach them how to get over objections, and then check and then make manual reports to see how they're all doing. And so we built this SAM tool specifically for local SEO agencies so that they can easily onboard SDRs at scale. And then this can help each SDR become successful in the first day, and then help you track which ones you should keep and which ones you should replace based on how well they're performing, not just compared to other SDRs in your company, but also other SDRs that are also selling local SEO services with the help of SAM. So what's really cool about this is that it replaces the need to buy them leads, to give them access to a CRM, which if you're using something like HubSpot, which is what we use, typically that's very expensive. And then also it replaces the need for a trainer and a manager. So SAM, Sales Automated Manager, really replaces all of these functions that I just mentioned. So now scaling a sales team should be a piece of cake. So really all that these SDRs need to do is log into SAM every day, and it'll give them their leads fresh to call. And you can see that it has a lot of the information that they need to be effective at selling. So for example, here's the AI summary of this business owner called a tree automatic transmission. They have 57 Google reviews, a 4.4 out of 5 rating. They have profiles on Google, Mechanic Advisor, Yellow Pages. Their main competitors likely Coronado Austin Repair. They likely earn $3,000 per customer, and there are around 320 people looking for the type of business each month in their area, which means their total market size is $960,000 per month in new customer value. This is huge, right? This is basically all that you need to do to convince a business owner that they need to rank higher on Google Maps. Here's the script that your SDR just needs to read. And as the person throws objections their way, like maybe they say, oh no, you're too expensive, they just quickly click these buttons and they'll immediately get the rebuttal to it. So they don't need to fall on their face 100 times before they can get over it. If we scroll down a little more, you can see all the different settings or attributes for these leads. So you can see who their top competitor is, how well they're currently ranking. So in this case, they're not really ranking in the top 20, the total market opportunity size, and it's constantly audited. So if you're assigned a lead, then within the previous 7 days, it's been fully audited. So all the information is completely accurate. You don't need to worry about sourcing leads or making sure that they're up to date. All right. And the purpose of these calls, as I mentioned earlier, is to get these SMBs to do a free Google business profile audit, because we don't expect these very entry level SDRs who are only really costing about, $10 US an hour. We don't really expect them to be able to do a full sale. So what we do expect them to do is get someone to simply use our Google Business Profile audit tool so that this lead can get properly into our funnel, and then hopefully they can convert into being a full paid customer. I'm going to break down the math for you in a minute as to how this all shakes out so you can see how we can justify it. And this Google Business Profile Audit tool, if you don't have one yet, it's something that we make available for all of our agency partners. It's something that you can put on your website or send the link to your leads, which is what we plan on doing. And it allows your leads to do a full Google Business Profile audit all by themselves. It's super easy to do. And then the results go to both you and them so that you can then sell them. So this is the route that we're going, which is to get them to do an audit and then hope that they convert through our existing funnel. But you can set up your scripts to do whatever you want. So if you'd rather have them do a one-call close or to arrange a meeting to speak with you, you can totally do that. We just figured that because we don't plan on really going to direct to SMBs long-term, that we would have them do an audit. That way we don't have to hire a bunch of closers to handle this influx in leads. The one thing that Sam doesn't have yet that would be very helpful is a dialer. So our existing sales team uses Kixi and HubSpot to make outbound calls. So there's a chance that we end up having to just buy a bunch of Kixi subscriptions to do this, or maybe a similar tool. If you guys have any ideas for good dialers that are really good for staying out of the spam, then please comment them below. That would be great. And if you have any other questions about this plan or thoughts, please comment below, and I'll be more than happy to respond. Okay, so let's say that they've been calling for 30 days. What we can then do is go over to this reports tab where we can compare our results at our agency to all the other agencies that are using SAM. So we can see, are we closing more or fewer leads than other agencies? How does our average sales cycle in terms of days compare to other agencies selling page or local SEO in general? And then we'll be able to see rep by rep in this table, so all 10 reps, what other metrics look like so that we can easily figure out at the end of the 30 days or however long we decide to make the test, which are the best performers and the lowest performers so that we can consistently weed out the low performers. Because it's just natural that SDRs will burn out over time. And so you really need easy metrics to make sure that you don't have burnt out appointment setters or salespeople on your team. This will also tell you the objections that get thrown the most. So here you can see our sales team is getting hit with the not interested objection the most, followed by we don't think it'll work, or call me later, or send info. And then here you can see different script effectivenesses. So you can monitor which scripts are working best for you compared to other agencies if you're using public ones. Okay, lastly, let's talk about the math and why I think it is completely feasible to hire 10 SDRs to grow your agency faster than you had planned this year. And still turn a very good profit. So what we have here are sales reps 1 through 10. So I didn't put names, I just put numbers. And here what I did was that each one is going to call 100 leads per day. We may raise that, we might lower it. It really just depends on what we see as far as the quota attainment for each sales rep on whether we can give them more or fewer. Here, I just put in different numbers. So we're going to say the first 2 SDRs are going to get 1 person to agree to an audit a day, 2 are going to get 2, 2 are going to get 3, 2 are going to get 4, and 2 are going to get 5 GBP audits a day, meaning getting a small business owner to use our GBP audit tool to get them into our funnel. So I did a varying amount here just so you could see what the ROI is depending on how productive each of these SDRs are. Now what I did is looked at the number of customers per day. So I'm assuming that we're going to close about 30% of the people that we do audits for, right? So if you're closing 30% of all these audits, that means that each SDR is getting between 1 customer every 3 days or 1.5 customers a day. And then looking at the lifetime value of each of these customers, I assumed that each customer of yours is worth $500 a month. Because that's typically what people resell our page product for, and that they stay with you for 9 months. It's on the short end. Most people stay with it for over a year, but I wanted to be conservative here. Next, we looked at the monthly pay. So what are these people costing us in terms of salary? And because we're hiring from cheaper wage countries, you can see we're only paying about $1,500 US a month per sales rep. And on top of that, I expect the software cost and all the other costs that we have for these reps to be about $200 a month each. That's going to include the SAM tool and the dialer and anything else that we need. Maybe it's Slack licenses or I don't know, whatever else you might give them access to. And then what I did was just totaled up these costs so we can get a better idea of what it really is. And you can see that our cost all in is probably around $1,700 a month, which means that each one of these reps needs to create us at least $1,700 a month for it to be worth us to keep this running. So now if we look at what these reps will be creating us in terms of revenue based on the audits they can get per day and the number of them that they convert and the lifetime value of those, we can see that the monthly rep ROI from the low end is $27,000 a month, and to the high end is $135,000 a month. That's if you're considering the full lifetime value of these clients, not just the first month's revenue. The cool thing is, though, is that I think you'll actually break even on each SDR, even if you only count like a cash basis, meaning every month it's costing you $1,700, but you're only making $500 a month per client, because worst case scenario for the sales rep, it's only getting you a customer every 3 days. Assuming that all of these reps are only working 20 days a month, that's still getting you 6 new clients a month, which means that 6 times the $500 a month is $3,000. So even if you're looking at a cash in versus cash out basis, you're still cash flow positive on that first month, as long as you can just meet these levels of productivity. And then lastly, what you need to think about is, well, could I get these clients a cheaper way? Like, could I run ads or email marketing, or could I do like door hangers or any other marketing campaign that you can think of? So I wanted to look at the cost per acquisition. So that's looking at the total number of customers that this sales rep got me in a month compared to what I'm paying the sales rep all in. So this $1,700 a month figure. And if we look at it, you can see that the CPA ranges from $283 at the high end down to $57 per client. And if you can get a client for $57, you should do that strategy, because that is a phenomenal CPA. You know, even at $283, it's not bad, because you're still turning a cash flow in the first month of this SDR. For example, we spent way more than $283 to acquire clients before, and we've spent a lot of effort in optimizing our ads. So I would be happy personally with any of these numbers for an SDR for as long as they can maintain it. Of course, you're probably going to want to pay bonuses for the different audits that a SDR is able to secure, or when somebody converts to being a customer. And, you know, Sam can track all of that for you. So Sam will actually know when a lead that one of your SDRs called turned into a customer inside page. So it can really automate all of that for you, so that you might say, you know, to the SDR, for every client you get me, it's going to be, I'll give you a $25 bonus. And then it'll actually tell you how many clients that SDR got you onto page, or however else you're tracking it within that 30 days. So you can easily just pay them that bonus. So hopefully this kind of makes sense in the plan of how we're going to go from 0 to 10 SDRs in the next 72 hours. If you found this helpful, then please subscribe to the channel, like the video, ask all of your questions below. I'm more than happy to answer them. And I will make a follow-up video in about 30 days to let you know how this is coming along. And if you are looking for ways to automate your sales outreach, then check out Sam and Paige on our website, www.merchant.com. I look forward to making the next video. Thanks for watching.